Assalamu alaikum and welcome to LinkUps, a video series connecting the Muslim community to each other by sharing its voices. And I'm your host, Atika Sayyida. Our goal for this program is simple. We would like be a diverse and inclusive platform to have candid conversations that affect us as a community. We'll be speaking with another very special guest today who has been a part of the South Florida community for almost over 2 decades. Please welcome Sister Sadia Suhail. I would like to read her bio actually before we begin our conversation with her. Sister Sadia Suhail graduated from Broward College with a degree in pre-pharmacy. She also completed a certificate as a pharmacy technician and worked for Walgreens for 4 years. She left the professional world to focus on her personal responsibilities as a mother of 4 beautiful children. But she did rejoin work 6 years ago in her capacity as a learning coach with Sana Trust Foundation and Sanat Preparatory. She taught as a learning coach for elementary, middle, and high school students and loves her students as much as they do. So once again, Sister Sadia, welcome to our program. It's a pleasure to have you. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Thank you for inviting me to speak today on this platform. It is really an honor to be your guest.
Oh, it's our honor to have you, Sister Sadia. So let's get right into the program, inshallah. My first question for you today is, obviously we're going to be talking about schooling and children, and both of us are mothers. So, and we hope for this conversation to be a very candid conversation. So please be honest, and even if it means that you have to speak critically about the organization that you worked with, we welcome your honest and open feedback. My first question for you today is, what is the most important thing when it comes to your children's education and why?
That's a really important question. And I really can't say that there is just one thing that is really important for me when it comes to my children's education, because children need a lot of different things for them to grow up into responsible adults. But one of the most important things when it comes to my children's education is the environment in which they are in, because I really value relationships and the company in which my children will be studying in. The second thing I think which is really important, is the quality of education they will be receiving. And the third thing is the attention of the teachers towards their personalities and what kind of individuals we as adults responsible for their upbringing are raising. I also think that parents should not have to compromise on any of these things.
Sister Sadia, that's an amazing. I love the fact that you actually prioritize it, because sometimes we want everything under the sun. We want all these amazing things, and you and I both know very honestly that it's sometimes we do have to sacrifice, and sometimes we do have to understand that we're not going to be able to get everything. So I really appreciate you sharing the 3 most important things that were important for you, and I'm assuming your spouse as well. So if I just to recap, you mentioned the environment was very important for you, the quality of their education. So by that, I'm assuming you mean their academics was really important for you. And that the third thing you mentioned was the relationship and the relationship, I believe, correct? If I'm not wrong? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, so their relationship with their teachers, their mentors, their learning coaches, and also with their friends, their peers.
Wow, mashallah. And I would have to agree with you that all those things are really important. So moving right into now having a more personal conversation about your experience with Sanat Trust Foundation and in specifically Sanat Preparatory. We would like for you to share with our audience what brought you to Sanat Prep.
Well, what actually brought me to Sanat Prep was the hope that my children will be receiving all of the things that I mentioned at Sanat. And alhamdulillah, I was not wrong. The first time I heard about Sanat was back about 6 to 7 years ago, when Ustad Rehan, or Brother Rehan, was speaking at Darul Uloom, and he was introducing Sanat to the community. And I can positively say that I made up my mind right then and there that this is the institution for my children. Because I was in search for such an institution that would educate my children about their deen, as well as educate them on how to practice their deen. Academics were very important to me, but I did not want to compromise their ilm about their deen. And that was what attracted me to Sanad. Suhail and I had the same goal for our children, that we wanted to raise well-educated, well-rounded, strong children who knew their identities as Muslim citizens and were not afraid to or ashamed to display themselves as Muslims.
And that's a really important point you're making. You also touched upon something that, if you don't mind me asking you to elaborate, many a times, as couples, the couples husband and wife may have different goals, and it can be very challenging to kind of combine those two goals together and say, you know what, these are my goals for my children, and a husband may think differently, and to combine those two goals. I mean, mashallah, what you're describing, it appears to be that it was a very easy thing for you and your husband to talk about. Was there any particular criteria? Meaning, you did mention three things, but did both of you combine those two things? Did you have to compromise on, what was important for him, what was important for you, or was it just as easy as, no, this is important?
No, actually, I did not even know about the curriculum or the academics that Sanad was offering. At that time, when I listened to Ustad Rehan, he talked about many different aspects of a child's personality, and he highlighted that we need to raise and we need to mentor and kind of bring up strong kids who knew their identity as Muslims. And that was very important to me, because living here, it's really hard. You can, because all of the social media, the TV, the movies and everything, a child can easily forget who they are. So that was like my number one priority at that time. Because I didn't know about the curriculum. But as they went into Sanad and started studying there, I saw that they really had a really good curriculum, and really that the academics were excellent. And my kids, they were actually doing really great in school. And mashallah, they're taking advanced classes right now, and I'm very happy about that. And so my whole entire decision was really a good one.
MashaAllah. So we have just a few more minutes left to go, and I want to ask you a very important question that I believe is very important for me, even me as a mother. My last question for you is, what are your dreams and goals for your children's future, and what role do you believe an educational institution plays in helping you achieve these goals?
When I think about my dreams and goals, and actually me and my husband Suhail, we talk about this a lot, that our goals are not very complicated. We have very simple goals for our children. We just want them to know and own their identity as Muslims. And I want them to understand that in order to attain their academic education, they do not have to in any way compromise their Islamic education. I want them to know that in order to become authors or engineers or doctors or teachers or whichever field they choose, they shouldn't think that they can't also be alims and hufaz and hafizas and alimas, inshallah. And the educational institution has a great role because they can provide all of these opportunities for the children and for their students to be all of this and even more.
MashaAllah. So my last question for you is, if you could give any advice. I have a lot of respect for you. You're like my older sister, MashaAllah. We may have moms or even parents listening to this video. If I were to ask you one last piece of advice that you could offer another mother or another professional, even educator in the field, what would that be?
My advice to all moms, my sisters, and everybody would be to first practice what we want our children to learn. So if we are not practicing Muslims, our children are not going to be practicing Muslims. That's just a small example. So if we want our children to be honest individuals, we have to show that honesty in our own personality. So I think that comes that is one of the most important things for me, that if I want whatever I want my children to be, I like to practice that myself.
Thank you so much, Sister Sadia. And with that beautiful piece of advice, we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude. It's a very short video series. We literally just, get to talk to our viewers for 10 minutes, but I would like to express our gratitude to you for joining us today. Our 10 minutes are up, but hopefully we can have another conversation with you again in the future on a different topic. I know today's topic this theme has just been about schooling and education, but once again, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for sharing the wonderful gems about, education and schooling and the decisions that you and your husband made with regards to the goals that you had for your children and how you arrived at those decisions. Thank you so much. Jazakallah khair. So with that, viewers, we would like to thank you for joining us today. Our 10 minutes are up. I would like to encourage you to join us every week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. At 6:30 p.m. We do go live on YouTube and Facebook. We do not like to disclose our guest speakers ahead of time. So we have a wonderful line of speakers for you, perhaps some that maybe you know of and some you may not know of. But we would love for you to join us every Tuesday and Thursday at 6:30 p.m. YouTube and Facebook Live to join us for these video series called LinkUps with your host Atika Sayyida, myself. If you have any questions about the program, we are starting another section in this video series called So You Ask. We encourage you to ask us any questions you may have on a topic connected to education or even outside. And if you would like to be a guest on this program, please contact me personally at my email address, attiqa@sanattrust.org, and we would be happy to have you on this program. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Atika Sayyida. We hope to see you next Tuesday. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.